California voters overwhelmingly approved Prop 50 last night. The measure lets state lawmakers temporarily redraw congressional districts in 2026.
Supporters say it's all about safeguarding California's voice in Washington, but critics now warn that it's unfair, and they're suing to stop it. We're joined now by the chair of the political science department at Sonoma State University, Professor David McCuan. Hey, David, thanks for being back with us.
Well, it's my pleasure. Nice to see you both.
Likewise. So with the Republicans now suing here, Governor Newsom seemed to be somber, not gloating in his victory speech, if you will. And does he see the writing on the wall that it's going to be hard to actually implement this now?
You know, that speech, when you give a victory speech, you're supposed to be happy. You're supposed to thank everybody. And it was an interesting kind of tone that he struck, a little bit more combative than you might think. Normally, I wouldn't comment about his style about what he does, but it really was a moment, I think, that they lost in terms of they should have said, look, this is what happens when people organize and they win by large margins. It is no surprise, however, though, Grant, that this lawsuit was filed this morning. There'll be more later this week. You should expect quite a few that drag into next week as well. They'll be really kind of focusing on process, how this got to the ballot, and that'll be targeting Assembly Speaker Rivas and former pro tem Mike McGuire. Then there will be lawsuits filed related to constitutional issues, equal protection and due process, and legal issues. All of these things will keep Governor Newsom's name in lights. It will keep him, really front and center, identified with how well Prop 50 has done, even though it could lend a little bit of uncertainty to this. The opponents of 50 have not been successful yet, but they could end up all the way to the Supreme Court during this term. Again, elongating kind of this campaign and being very expensive. So this adjudication phase is the next stage, if you will. Still an uphill set of chances for the opponents here to seek relief through the courts.
All right, well, even so, how big of a win, though, is Prop 50 for Governor Gavin Newsom's next political ambitions?
It's huge, and I think this is missed a little bit by the national media and the East Coast focus on New York City, Virginia, New Jersey. Look, Gavin Newsom had a high wire act. It is a blue state, but it's not solely a blue state. It's a very diverse state. Donald Trump picked up 11 counties in 2024. He didn't do so well, even though he wasn't on the ballot yesterday. But for Gavin Newsom, he's a huge winner out of this. He's a huge winner. We thought they'd win by 15 points or so. They're going to win by almost double that. And maybe it settles down into 20 points. But that puts him on the national stage, at least in the near term, say in the next couple of months. So therefore, he can ride the wave of what's going on. Can he raise money for Democrats next year? What does that look like? It maintains his profile and puts him in the top 3 list headed into summer, when we're into the summer of the midterms. As long as the California economy holds, he will be an important player and a driver's seat for the Democratic nod, something we wouldn't have said 6 months ago or a year ago.
Talking about the Democratic Party as a whole, David, did last night tell you anything about who they are and how they can win? Is it the Pelosi party, or is it the younger generation, the Mayor Mandami party?
Right. Is it the moonlighting Democrats who are Democratic socialists, or is it more the mainstream Democrats, and where does it sit? Democrats had a good night. There's no doubt about that. But look, Donald Trump and the Republicans are not going to roll over. And what is the message exactly going to be? I think this is part of your question, right? Is it going to be on the side of Bernie Sanders, AOC, Mamdani? You're going to loop Gavin Newsom into that? Or is it going to be someplace else, someplace in the middle that can gather purple people? Or is the party big enough to have all of those actors? That part isn't quite worked out. The big message out of yesterday is change. Now, that might be change related to affordability and issues around the economy. Okay, but voters want to see change. They voted for Trump for change. They voted yesterday for change. And that kind of back and forth voter, typical California voter, by the way, is something that Democrats haven't really rectified and worked out. So that'll be an interesting element to watch. They do now have more pressure on the shutdown, and they do maybe gather some issues and have a little bit of a backbone, a place they haven't been since November 2024 when they lost.
So could other states now start redrawing their maps and just make what California just did just for nothing, if everyone's going to start moving everything around? Do you see that happening?
Yeah, we do see that happening. Republicans can pick up more states, not 5 seats, but one here, one there. And the whole idea is to try to cut in half normal midterm loss of a president's second midterm. That's what 2026 is. That's normal midterm loss is 35. So if you could cut that to say 15 or 12, 14, somewhere in there, it's hard for Republicans to get to double digits, but that's the place they'd like to get to. Now, Democrats are in going to Maryland and Illinois. The problem is when you go to states like that, the congressional delegations are already overwhelmingly Democratic. So you're not going to pick up or offset many seats. Virginia is the next big test. There's a ballot measure there next year, similar to California. But Virginia is a very different state than California, and a purple state for that matter. So there is a battle that's spilling over going to other states, and Republicans are not going to take this laying down. How do Democrats respond in some of their blue states? That will be something to watch as well.
All right, one word answer this time next year. Who controls the House, red or blue?
Blue.
All right.